arche, this ultimate reality thing, the one, had to be, and this is what they believe, it had to be different from you and I or the things we see. It had to be boundless and ageless, and he defines that as infinite and eternal. Very interesting. These are philosophers thinking whatever was one before us had to be infinite and eternal. Now, I think about it this way. And this was before they even knew about the Big Bang. I mean, that's modern. But in our world, as we think about the Big Bang theory, meaning that from this little dot, it blew up, and all space, matter, time, and energy came from that little dot, those four things. Now, it's interesting because you talk to scientists about it. You ask them, where did the dot come from? Where did that little dot with everything in it? It wasn't just matter in there, but all space was in there. There was no space before the dot, that little dot exploded. There was no time before that exploded. And no energy. It was all in the dot. So if that's true, who put the dot there? How did it get there? Mm-hmm. And there's another law that says that Newton's law says a force will not move unless acted on by another force. Right? A force can't move unless acted on by another force. So it's just sitting there. So who's going to make it move? Right? Who's going to make it explode? Because these are unanswered questions that the scientists won't tell you. For me, my thinking is that it couldn't have been a physical thing because all physical things were in the dot. Everything physical matter was in the dot all time. There was no time, so it had to be something outside of time, eternal, and it had to be something infinite. In other words, outside of time and boundless, like not bound by physicality. Something had to be super physical. Where that comes from. So that's where we get the word. So this was natural. This was all natural in here. It had to be super. Super meaning above nature. So to me, it had to be supernatural. Something supernatural had to happen. Right? So that's my modern thinking, but I'm just trying to put this together. So today, you got something more to think about and talk to your friends about. So a couple more words he's going to bring out today, and then I'll be done. So he'll say the word existential. Do any of you know what that means? Existential.
Existential.
Yeah. Have you heard it before? Have you heard existential? A lot of people use that as a philosophy term, and there's a lot of philosophy attached to existentialism. But he's using it in a different way. He's just using it as meaning the here and now. So when he gets up here, he's saying, I'm talking about here and now. Existential meaning what we're doing now. This is existential. If you say there's an existential threat going on, that would be right now. Maybe there's a bomb threat right now. Someone said they're going to they have a bomb, right? To go off. That's an existential threat. It means right now.
Present.
Right? Yeah, in the present tense. And a lot of people live their life like that. Like, oh, I just live for today. That would be a person who's existential. They don't care about the past. They don't care about the future. Just live for the now. There's even a book called Living in the Now. Okay, and the guy's all about this kind of philosophy. All right, but that's what it means in a basic way. Pluralists are different from monism. Okay, the monists believe in the one substance. The pluralists believe there could be two substances that make all things, or maybe there was four, or maybe an infinite amount of substances that make up the ultimate reality. In fact, I forgot to mention over here, you mentioned that they took these, they said these four weren't enough, maybe there's a fifth element. And they came up with this idea of fifth element, and quints is what it means, or quints. And if you hear the word quintessential, have you ever heard that word quintessential? It means the ultimate thing. The ultimate thing. It comes from this idea of fifth, the fifth dimension, or the fifth thing. Whenever we talk about the fifth, it means above the physical thing. So there was some other thing. It could be the supernatural, the non-physical world, whatever. And they're looking for this. What is this thing that holds everything together in the universe? Okay? The pluralists thought maybe there's 2, 4, maybe infinite number of substances. They called them seeds because they saw that all the plants, every kind of plant has a seed, and they figured that maybe that's it. Democritus was a guy, I talked about this when I used to teach chemistry, because he was the first one to come up with the idea of everything, every physical thing is made up of units, little tiny units that we can't see. He couldn't see them. He just made a hypothetical hypothesis that there was something, and he called them atoms. Now we know what atoms are today, right? We know what atoms are. This thing, it seems like it's hard, right? This metal is made up of atoms, metal atoms, right? But actually, I should be able to poke my finger through, because there's actually space in between the atoms. But these are packed really hard together, okay? These atoms are like this. If it was water, I could put my through, because the atoms are not so tight, you know. So anyway, everything made, now we know everything is, he was correct, that the physical world is made up of different atoms. Your body, our bodies are made of different things, like the cells in our body are made up of like carbon and all these different elements that make up, each cell and all this. It's pretty complex, very complex actually. It's hard to think how people think that our cells evolved, because they're so complex. Then we have dualism, which dual comes from the word two, so just as mono means one, dual means two. These people believed that there were 2 bits of reality, and he didn't really explain that. I think maybe for me it would be like physical and non-physical could be an example of 2 bits of reality. There's the heaven and earth, right? The earth and everything, the physical, and that would include like the universe, physical world. And then there's the heaven that we can't see, the unseen realm, maybe where the angels are, or the demons are, or whatever is out there. Some people think it's a ghost out there, they're afraid of it. Right? So there's that unseen, non-physical world. And finally, the last 3 things, he's going to talk about corporeal, and incorporeal. And again, these are words that I'm not familiar with very often. I hardly ever use this. I think once in a while we might use this in biology or something, but corporeal means matter is all that exists. So when someone says corporeal, they're saying that the only thing that exists is matter. And then incorporeal are people that think that spiritual is all there exists. There are people that think that. They actually think life is an illusion. Everything in here is just an illusion. A lot of Hindu beliefs, pantheistic Hindu beliefs, are that this world is just, we're in the illusion. And when we die, we get into the reality. So this is a belief. Okay? And then finally, he's going to talk about energy. And he's saying, what is energy? If you ask a scientist, they'll say E equals mc squared, or ability to do work, or force, or we'll talk about different things, or electrons. But he's like, what really is? Has anybody ever told you what energy really is? I mean, it's almost like trying to figure out this, right? Trying to figure out what is our essence of what made everything is almost like trying to figure out what energy is. I mean, we can see, things. We can see. We know there's some electrons here, and we know it's. But even electrons are like, is electrons like a wave, or is it? What is it? I forget it. It's a photon. It's all different things. They're not sure what it is. So these are the things that we're trying to talk about. So anyway, this is the English vocabulary. Any questions on this? You have any questions?
Any comments?
Huh? Any comments or questions? You want to add any words to this?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to try each week try to go over. This was a long one because it was 2 weeks worth. Hopefully next time it won't be so long. But there it is. Thank you.
Lunch brunch share.
Okay. Wow. Oh, how much time was that?
10 minutes.
Wait. Where to put to
Yeah,
finish?
15.
Yeah, you can click it.
15.
Okay.